Pat, can we start this interview off by finding out what's happening with Lee Griffiths? How close is he to returning to first team football? Yeah,
he should be okay for the weekend. He's Monday, Tuesday, he's done a fair bit of rehab stuff for the physios, and he's come in and took part in a full training session this morning. Hopefully again tomorrow morning, if there's no reaction to that, well then he come back into the squad for Saturday.
How difficult is it to tell Lee that he's not going to be available for selection? Because he strikes me as being the type of character that always wants to play, that is straining at the leash.
I think last week he was probably a prime example of that, and probably how he's matured a little bit. He wanted to play, and we just felt even though he's paying free, there's still a little bit of swelling. Well, a fair bit of swelling around his ankle, and you just got to weigh up the options. I suppose that he misses one game rather than if we played him, and he ends up missing 4 or 5 weeks. Well, then it becomes a poor decision. So I think the option just to leave him out, recover him, make sure he keeps making progress on it, and then have him ready for this week was the plan. And so far it's worked out okay.
How peculiar was it to some degree that one of our strongest attacking performances appeared in his absence then? Because we looked capable of scoring more than 2 at the weekend. He must have been pleased with the collective attacking display.
Yeah, I was pleased with most of Saturday, to be honest. The 2 goals, outside of that, conceding the 2 goals, I think everybody gave a real decent performance, and we look like we're starting to understand each other and gel as a unit, and that's obviously you want to try and improve week in, week out, and that's what we're trying to do. And although Saturday you'd see glimpses of that, still plenty of work to do on it. I think before the game people would have been concerned, obviously not Leeds scored a fair few goals for us, and where were the goals going to come from, but Saturday I think we looked like we could have scored goals from most parts of the pitch, so that's pleasing.
David Wotherspoon put in another decent shift and a good performance, capped off with that memorable goal. Do you feel that you found his right position on the right hand side of midfield?
I think with David, I think he's very capable of playing in a few different positions. I think it's really about confidence with David, and belief, and having belief in himself and trusting himself. And we've worked on the other sides of his game. He's got great ability. His awareness, his passing, striking the ball is very, very good. He's got to work. He's a young player. People tend to forget he's played a fair few matches, but he's still a young player, and we got to, we had to teach him, the position a little bit more, his positional sense when we're in possession and when we haven't got the ball. So all them little things that all players need to learn, and I think gaining experience and trying to give him a helping hand every week to try bring on his game has improved him. But I think his biggest single improvement from his point of view is his confidence and belief in his own ability. He's a very good footballer, and he's just got to believe that more, and I think you can see that coming out in him now. He's got a big belief in himself, and that has to continue now, even when the big test for players like that is when you have 1 or 2 games that you don't get to the level that you've got been at previously. You've got to make sure that you contribute in the game and you play as a team player then, and then eventually that comes around again, and you get the confidence back. So it's just important that he believes in himself. I think that's the biggest criteria for him going forward, is to make sure that he's a good player, and you're not always going to play really well every day, but when you don't, you've got to make sure you contribute for the team, and then you move on to the next one.